Alrighty, guys, I got the power rankings for week 5 coming up. Uh, this is based solely on like how well everyone's been doing all around offense, defense, value of what kind of wins you've had, how much you beat people by. I put all that into consideration. Only thing I don't put into consideration is yards and stats. All I put into consideration is what you scored, how much you beat them by, away, home. That is what I use for my power rankings. How good your team is. At the bottom of the barrel, I got the Washington Commanders. Um, Carson Wentz is at the end of his career. I don't think he would take a backup position willingly, and good for him. He was a top pick. At one point he was an MVP candidate, but man, I mean, he had a great week 1, and then it's been every week I've been saying it. It's a steep decline, and it just keeps getting steeper and steeper. He it's not clutch. He turns the ball over a lot. Um, he just lays it all on the line every single play. He never plays with his head. He just plays with his heart, and it can be good some weeks, but most weeks that's playing with just your heart is not going to get you anywhere. Number 31, I got the Houston Texans. The only reason they're above the Commanders is at least they're playing up to their competition. Yes, they've lost other games, but I believe that Lovie Smith is a great coach, and if they had a lick of talent, they probably would be in the 20s. Number 30, I got the Carolina Panthers. Baker just keeps declining every single week. Um, he hasn't been what I didn't expect him to do well, but I thought he would at least bounce back and give them 7 wins or so. But he's been playing the same every week. He hasn't improved, and yeah, that's why I got the Panthers at 30. 29, I got the Detroit Lions. Again, they've been very cold recently. Their defense is killing them. Injuries are killing them on offense. The only thing they really got going for them is their offense, and everybody's injured. Once everybody comes back and they get that rolling, I can see them being more of a middle of the pack kind of team. But their defense is so bad that if their offense is off a little bit, they're a bottom of the barrel team. Uh, Number 28, I got the Indianapolis Colts. Um, Matt Ryan hasn't looked good. I know. I'm not a Matt Ryan guy. Never have been. Never really believed in him a whole lot. He never jumped off my screen when it came to like ability, and he never had that. He's a leader, but he's not clutch like the greatest ones are. Um, their offensive line has been a joke this year. They are known for the most. They are known for having one of the best offensive lines in the league, but this year, that is what's hurting them. John Taylor had 20 carries for 40 yards. I mean, come on. Matt Ryan hasn't even been able to stay upright. And some quarterbacks can fight through it, like Joe Burrow, and just rely on his clutch ability to make a final drive to win the game. But Matt Ryan doesn't have that. And when you don't have that as a quarterback and you have no offensive line, you're screwed. I mean, obviously he could turn it around. He is Matt Ryan, but I highly doubt it with the way their offensive line is playing. And Denver is has a great front seven. I expect them to get after Matt Ryan this week. Uh, 27, I got the Las Vegas Raiders. I I think I might have should have put them a little higher, but just given that they started out 0-3, they just got a really good win against the Broncos, and Derek Carr I feel like is gonna revitalize the season a little bit. They've played like crap. Their defense has played like crap, but man, they got Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs had a great week. He's not done. If they can get the ball rolling, I could see them making an actual playoff push, a wild card push. As bad as they played last week, they really impressed me. Like that's how I expected them to be all year. And but right now I got them at 27 just because of their very poor start. The New Orleans Saints at number 26. Um, they're in every single game. They're all well coached. It's just their quarterback. They got great skill players. They got good receivers. They got usually a really good running game. Great defense. Um, but no quarterback. If they got a quarterback, I would have this team in the top 10, but that quarterback spot is glaring for them, and it has been ever since Breeze left. Number 25, I got the Arizona Cardinals. Um, Only reason I have them that high is because of Kyler, but I know I've talked a lot of crap about Kyler on my podcast, but I love Kyler Murray. I've been a fan of his since he came out. He just irritates me so much because I know he has so much more potential than what he's doing. And yeah, he beat the Panthers, but I would expect him to beat a struggling team like that. The pressure was on Baker that game for sure. Kyler has a little bit of. He just got that contract. He's clutch. He's an athlete. He's got a little bit more of a leash. When he does bad, people don't really rip on him. But he does not read through his first and second progressions at all. I mean, his second and third progressions at all. It's one progression, run, and that won't get it done big time. If he takes care of that aspect, he has a good enough arm that he could be a top 10 quarterback. 24, I got the Chicago Bears. A little higher than I probably should have put them, but I believe that Herbert is going to take over the running back position. Darnell Mooney. I've been talking crap about their receiving core, but they've had one dude kind of step up, and that's Darnell Mooney. Um, but other than that, Justin Fields is still not working with a lot. Their defense is average. They're not as bad as what people may think. I think their defense is right about middle of the pack, but their lack of weapons is really what kills this team. I like what Khalil Herbert is doing. I expect him to take over the starting role. He's played a lot better than David Montgomery ever did, I think. And Mooney, if Mooney keeps making plays, they'll be able to win games. But they lost to the Giants, and obviously it wasn't enough plays. And I don't know what to tell Bears fans, but just like stack up on your weapons. Number 23, I got. Before I go on 23, I just feel bad for Bears quarterbacks because they just keep setting them up to fail with really horrible offensive line and like no weapons. They keep doing it over and over and over, just like the Jets. So I kind of feel bad for quarterbacks that play there. They go there to die. Number 23, I got New England Patriots coming off a close game with the Green Bay Packers. They actually played them really well. Is a quarterback controversy on the rise with Zappy playing very well? If Mac Jones comes back and he plays like has a horrible game, would you be willing to bench him after what you saw Zappy do? You never know with Belichick. Belichick makes some irrational decisions sometimes, but sometimes is very meat and potatoes. So he's very unpredictable. So I don't expect them to bench Mac Jones, but man, Zappy played a lot better than Mac Jones played all year. 22, I got the Seattle Seahawks. They're playing a lot better than I expected them to be. Honestly, I thought they would be like bottom of the barrel league, bottom of the barrel team. Geno Smith is playing just good enough. DK Metcalf really stepped up last game. He's a top three receiver, no matter how good his quarterback is. I'm sorry, he's a monster. Uh, their receiving core is good. Their running game is solid. They got a middle of the pack defense, so it's always keeping them in games. They're coached up. They're really coached well. So I think that they could end up a 500 team, which is a lot better than what I think a lot of people expected from them. Um, 21, the Pittsburgh Steelers. My prediction of the week was Mitch Trubisky would get benched. He did, and now Kenny Pickett's in there. Pickett is perfect for Pittsburgh. He's tough. He's pro ready. He's athletic. He's a winner. He's born and raised in Pittsburgh, played for Pitt. I mean, that is the perfect situation for Pittsburgh. Chemistry wise, talent wise, scheme wise, everything. That is a really good fit. I'm predicting a really good season. I think the Steelers will turn it around, and get at least 9 wins this year. I'm like, if I had to bet on anything for like a team to any team to turn it around and make their team good, it would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 20, I got the Denver Broncos. My Denver Broncos, coming off a really bad loss against the Las Vegas Raiders. Javonte Williams out for the year. We already have Tim Patrick out for the year. Our offense is very decimated right now, and we still have receiving weapons, and we just picked up Latavius Murray, so I don't think our running game will have a giant drop off, but it will have a little bit of a drop off, which, in my optimistic thinking, I'm thinking that that will force Russ to throw more, and I think that will open up their offense a lot more. Maybe this will be a blessing in disguise. That's what I'm hoping for. Our defense didn't play particularly well, but we didn't give our defense very good field position. So, I mean, they did get 30 points on us, and Surtain kind of got used up. But I mean, Surtain made a few plays, but Devontae got the best of them. So that was, I think, our defense needs to tighten up, and Russ needs to start throwing the ball a little more. I think that's what the result of this season-ending injury to Javante will be, is that them passing more. Hopefully, it'll be on the good side rather than the bad. 19, I got the Los Angeles Chargers. Um, they are the most streaky team in the NFL. They'll look great one week, and then the next week they'll look like complete dog crap. They lose a lot of big games. It takes a lot for me to believe in the Chargers just because of like the heartbreak I've seen them go through all the time, all the years of me watching them. Being a Broncos fan, I've seen everything that the Chargers do. They have always had great teams, a lot of talent, and but they just cannot win the big games. It's eerily similar to the Cowboys. The Cowboys of the AFC. I keep calling the Chargers the Cowboys of the AFC. Number 18, I got the Atlanta Falcons. They're a great team. They need to put Desmond Ritter in because Marcus Mariota has a ceiling, and every week he's hitting it. He's hitting the ceiling. That's what he's going to give you every single week. He's a good backup, but he's not a starter. Desmond Ritter is pro ready. He has a cannon of an arm. He's relatively mobile, probably more mobile than Mariota at this point. And I just don't know why they wouldn't do it. I know they haven't lost a lot of games. I mean, he hasn't really played. Marcus Mariota hasn't really played out of his position, but I believe he was like 7 for 13. I mean, they barely even passed or something. So I just think if they put Ritter in there, that would be a difference maker for them because they got weapons on offense and their defense is actually playing a lot better than what I expected. I thought they were going to be like 32nd in the league. I don't think they're at the bottom of the league. Number 17, I got the Rams, Los Angeles Rams. Uh, Coming off a brutal loss to the San Francisco 49ers. I think the Niners are going to take that division and run with it. The Rams are very mediocre this year without Odell and Von Miller. Uh, I think this is about where they will stay all throughout the season. They might get a good win here and there, but I think that they'll end up about 500 this year. Disappointing season for the Rams. Uh, Cleveland Browns at number 16, the best running team in the league. I think Nick Chubb's the best running back in the league, bar none. He's he's an every down back. He can do everything. He's got speed. He can break tackles. He can run you over. He stays healthy for the most part. Just a really great running back. If I was a franchise, I had to choose any running back. It would be Nick Chubb. Uh, Brissett's holding it down for them. I mean, he's making the most out of this opportunity. I don't think this will land him any starting jobs by any means, but I mean, he's doing relatively well. I mean, they're coming off a loss, but I mean, what more can you ask from them? I mean, if they go 500 until if they're like 6-5 when Deshaun Watson comes back, they got a shot at making the AFC wild card. Minnesota Vikings at number 15. I It's a little lower than a lot of people. I gotta wait for Cousins to get that legit win. I know that people said he played at the Saints. Now it's a neutral field in London, and I gotta see more from Kirk. I'm gonna keep them in about the middle, just like this, until I see Kirk Cousins get a win against like the Packers or like a playoff team. Like until I see a legit win against a playoff team. Look at Kirk Cousins' record in primetime games and against playoff teams and his playoff record. Show all of that. That if you look all those stats up, you would feel the same exact way that I do. I gotta wait for him to have like a legit win to maybe put any kind of stock into the Minnesota Vikings. 14, I got the surprising New York Giants. Saquon's looking really good. They're coming off a win against the Chicago Bears. They actually played the Cowboys relatively well last week, and Daniel Jones is really holding them back. All he can do is run. He's just like a bigger Trubisky. Super inaccurate with the ball, turns the ball over quite a bit. He just can run with it a little bit. If it's third down and long, he might get you one of those plays that, like, oh, that was an amazing first down that he just converted. It was probably some run that he broke out of the pocket, broke a couple tackles. Yeah, he's great at that. But other than that, you guys ever think that there? Do you really think the Giants receivers are that bad? I mean, if you look up the Giants receiving stats, they're horrible. Do you really think they're that bad? Or do you think that Daniel Jones can't get the ball to a wide receiver? That sounds more believable. Number 13. Two New York teams right next to each other. I got the New York Jets pretty high on my list. They looked really good against the Pittsburgh Steelers last week, moving the ball kind of at will. Zach Wilson hasn't really proven much to me yet. I believe in his future, but I'm not going to put any stock into him per se. But I love their offensive weapons. They got a two-headed monster backfield. They got a decent receiving core. I love their rookie receiver Garrett Wilson. Sauce Gardner. I mean, their defense is playing a lot better than they were. Um, I'm sure they will fall, but as of right now, I got them at 13. Number 12, I got the Tennessee Titans. They I've been on the uptick for sure. I think two teams that were kind of fighting to find their identity was Tennessee and Indianapolis. Last game they played each other and Tennessee found their identity. Indianapolis is still looking lost. Um, Tennessee, their running game coming back into fruition is exactly what they needed. That's what Ryan Tannehill needs in order to succeed. If Henry's going to have off games like he started the year with, fully expect Ryan Tannehill to ride the bench at some point this year or at the end of the year. He's only good when Derrick Henry runs well. If Derrick Henry's not running well, he cannot take the team on his back and put them over the top. Malik Willis might have the potential to do that. I know he didn't look amazing in the preseason, but he looked like he knew how to make plays. He looked like he was learning. He looked like a legitimate quarterback. I would say if they start having a cold streak, put him in. But right now, Derrick Henry's hot. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It was broke, and it got fixed, and keep it like that until they get off the rails again, which I'm sure they'll probably do at some point this year. Um, Number 11, I got the Cincinnati Bengals also on the uptick. Winning their last two games. They haven't looked the best, but they are looks like they're kind of finding their identity again. They're blocking a little better. Um, Joe Burrow had a little bit of time to pass actually this game, and I'm a huge believer in Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase elevates a quarterback's play by like times five, I feel. Um, Their receiving core is amazing. They got an amazing skill set at running back. As long as they can regroup at this offensive line position, I think they could eventually be in the top five. But right now, I got them at 11. They got a couple kind of ugly wins. Number 10, I got the 49ers coming off a huge win against the Rams, demolishing them. Debo Samuel is the leader of that offense, but Garoppolo is what keeps that offense going. They looked like trash with Trey Lance in there, and Jimmy Garoppolo comes in, and all of a sudden they're winning games. People can say how ugly he throws, how ugly he looks at the quarterback position, but I'm sorry, dude. He is a winner. He knows how to manage the game. He knows how to make the right throw at the right time. He might have a turnover or two through the game, but for the most, look at his record compared to the backups for the 49ers in the same time period. Jimmy Garoppolo smokes their record. I got number 9, the Baltimore Ravens. Very disappointing week against the Bills. I thought they were going to win. They were up 20-10. They blew the lead again, and this one I can put partial blame on Lamar Jackson. I'm a big Lamar Jackson fan, though. I still think he has a legit chance to win MVP this year, but I just I can't put as much stock as I did about a week ago into Lamar because last week he actually looked not that great. Um, he but I will say I'm not making excuses for him. He needs a number one receiver. You can't live off of number threes. You can't live off of strictly just having deep threats. You got to have someone that can run some routes. You got to have somebody that can out muscle somebody for a jump ball. You got to have people like that. You can't just have streaks your whole game and expect like a good passing statistic. So he needs a receiver. Number 8, I got the Jacksonville Jaguars. Coming off a loss to the Eagles, I think this was kind of not a fluky game because I think they're both really good teams, but I think the game would have probably been a lot different. I don't think Lawrence would have had 4 fumbles. Uh, People are going to have knock that against them and say they're reverting back to how they were last year, but that game was an absolute tsunami. There was a bunch of just puddles of water all over the place, and it was pouring rain the whole time. Nobody could stick their foot in the ground. I mean, I just think that the Eagles got the better of them because they just have better skill set people and they have more agile players, people that play agile like their play skill set or Philadelphia's skill set players. You can run in the rain a little better than like a power back in which the Jaguars have. So I turnovers were key in this game is again somewhat fluky because of the rain, but I don't think Jacksonville is as people are kind of knocking them off their top tens right now, and I still think they're a legit team. They can make a run in the playoffs. Number 7, I got the Tampa Bay Bucks. Um, Tampa Bay, they had coming off a pretty bad loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. It was a good game, kind of, but I thought the Bucks would have a better running game for sure, especially with Leonard Fournette back there going against a weak running defense. I thought it'd be the opposite. I thought Edwards-Helaire would get stuffed, and I thought Leonard Fournette would have a huge game. It was the complete opposite. But like I've been explaining to a lot of my fans on YouTube, the the dead clock's right twice a day. You know, Leonard Fournette was been on fire, and he all of a sudden he has a bad game against a horrible run defense. Yeah, and bad games happen. Um, Edwards-Helaire, that was like the most rushing yards he's had in I think either his whole career or like since like early last year. Uh, so when it matters is where I like the Bucks. If the Bucks were to be playing the Chiefs in the Super Bowl this year, I would take the Bucks. If they're playing in the regular season, I'll take the Chiefs. Number 6, I got the Miami Dolphins. Might be bringing them down a few notches in the next couple weeks just because Teddy Bridgewater is playing, but I don't know. I just think that Bridgewater isn't a quarterback that can maintain a great record with them. I think they might be seeing a 500 record this year, but right now their record's good. They got great skill players that are still playing good, and so I got them at number 6. I got at number 5. I got the Green Bay Packers, and the Green Bay Packers kind of impressed me last week. They made a clutch kind of comeback. They let them come back on them, and then they let the Patriots come back on them, and then they ended up capitalizing at the end. So I was semi impressed, but they did give up a lead. Number 4, I got Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys looking really good ever since Cooper Rush came in there. He manages the game well. Their running game's back on track. CeeDee Lamb is getting involved. Their defense is looking really good. Keep Cooper Rush in there. Keep this fire going. Keep this train going. Just W's are all that matter. Who cares who you're paying? Who cares about stats? I got number 3, Kansas City Chiefs. Coming off a huge win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but their running game was great against a good run defense. And Patrick Mahomes has been very inconsistent this year. They just came off a loss against one of the worst teams in the league in the Indianapolis Colts. And I just think that Mahomes is going to have an off year once things keep once time keeps passing. I think Mahomes is going to kind of have a slow decline. Uh, I don't foresee him making a huge run in the playoffs this year just because he hasn't had this inconsistent of play in a long time. That 8 game stretch last year where he had like under 225 yards for 8 or 9 weeks and he was not looking like himself. That's because Tyreek was not there. He was very inconsistent during that stretch. Look at this year. He has a great game, bad game, great game, bad game. So I got the Chiefs at 3, not quite at 1 yet. Buffalo Bills number 2, coming off a great win against the Ravens. I think that the Ravens are better than what a lot of people are giving them credit for, but their defense is lacking. If the Bills would have beat them handedly, I probably would have them number 1, but they barely came back against the Baltimore Ravens and not giving any not nothing against that having a comeback, but they had 10 points through like 3 quarters. That's not like the Buffalo Bills. Number 1, I got the Philadelphia Eagles coming off a huge win against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I thought they were 2 of the hottest teams in the NFL. Eagles showing that they can do it in all conditions. I like that. Their defense is great. Had a great draft. They're such a good young team. They're molding together into a good unit. Um, and right now in the NFC for my favorites, I got the Eagles and the Bucks for the two my two favorites in the NFC right now, and then the AFC I got Bills and Chiefs right now.